Dear viewers, thanks for watching the Techies. Thanks for subscribing the Techies. If not subscribed, please subscribe and press the bell icon. In this video, I am going to discuss about Tailwind CSS. So what we are going to cover in this video are what is Tailwind, the difference between Bootstrap versus Tailwind, how we are going to set up Tailwind, and we have a lot of other Tailwind properties like width and height, border color, margin padding, flex box, and so on. What is Tailwind CSS? First of all, it is a utility first framework. Okay, what is utility first? You can easily customize the given classes. Tailwind is a CSS framework that gives lots of utility classes instead of pre-built components. If you see Bootstrap and other material CSS, you will be getting like a Jumbotron, Alert, like that. You'll be having the default classes will be available. But here, utility first, like let's say for example, if you want to adjust margin bottom, you can easily adjust the margin bottom. Here the utility first. It is a highly customizable lower level CSS framework and provides with a lot of CSS helper classes. So now we are going to set up the Tailwind. Before going to set up the Tailwind, we have to make sure in our system Node.js should be installed. Why? Because as I already told, it's a utility first framework and it doesn't have any CDN. So we have to install and we have to set up into our project. So it has a so for that reason we have to I told you to have the Node.js, and I am using in this video entirely Visual Studio Code for the editor. So now I'm going to create a blank folder and I'm naming it as Tailwind CSS, and I'm opening in my favorite editor Visual Studio Code. So please make sure the Node.js is installed. Without Node.js, Tailwind cannot be set up. Now we are going to do the setup for Tailwind. We can use the CDN as it is a utility first. So we have to set up the Tailwind into our project. So for that I already created a project called Tailwind tutorial, and I'm going to do the npm initialization. So this will create a package.json file. So it's already created here. You can able see here. So for this, the prerequisites will be like node. We have to check before this npm init. We have to check whether the node we have installed in our system or not. Without node, this won't work actually. Now I'm going to install the Tailwind. This is the second step. This will take some few minutes. Now I'm going to create two folders, like input and output folders like that, like src and output folder. So inside src, I'm going to create one more file called styles.css, and here I'm going to import three packages. Base component, utilities. So yes, these are the three packages we are using it. Now I'm going to do the one more command. We have to upload the configuration file for a Tailwind CSS initialization. So this is actually optional only, but I'm just creating it. So this is created Tailwind configuration file. This is actually optional. It's not needed for now, but I'm just having it. After this, we have to install two more packages called Post CSS CLI and Auto Prefixer. For that, I'm using npm install post CSS -CLI space auto prefixer. So if you could see my package JSON, it's been installed. Now we will do the configuration file for that one. Issues, so we can create manually also. I'll give my code in the YouTube description, the bottom. So we have done this one. Before executing it, we have to change in the package JSON. Here, I'm going to give it as build -CSS, and I'm going to remove this particular entire line. So here we are going to give some properties. Post CSS. So within the codes we have to give it post CSS space CSS means src. This is the input folder src/styles.css space hyphen o means output. Here I'm going to give output //styles.css. So what will happen is, like, when we run this command, this will automatically create a output.style.css and it will be available here. So now npm run build -css. So this will execute it. Sorry, I think we can't give a build -css. Actually, I'm just giving as build. Now if you see, it has been generated and it has been available here. So this is the entire Tailwind CSS. We can use it for our projects. So after setting the Tailwind, I have just created a simple HTML file, index.html file. I have added the required tags and I have imported the styles.css from here. This is the output of the style.css from Tailwind. And if you see here, I have given the div class. Inside the div class, I gave h64. H64 is nothing but height. I am giving the height as 16 rem unit. And if you see, I have given p for example, padding, margin, everything we can define like this. We can easily customize the classes. VG Green 600 means, if you see the before seeing the output, I have installed the live server. So by default, if you it will be available here in the bottom. If you click that live server, automatically it will change to port 5500. So here is the final output. Background green, background color. So it's been green. And I have set the font size, color and weight. And for this, I have set as height full. So it will be 100%. We can easily customize the 100% with the available utility classes. So for helper classes, so this is a color variation. I gave green 900, so it's showing as light, means it's showing as a dark green.